Whether you want to learn about a new topic or history or world issues or even a psychotic gruesome crime, there is literally a podcast for everything. In this video, I want to talk about my favorite podcasts that I listen to all the time. The first one is Ferriss Show. This has been ranked number 1 against 500,000 other shows around the world. It has been known to be the first podcast to surpass 100 million downloads. In each episode, he reconstructs world-class performers like Ray Dalio, Robert Greene, Tony Robbins, even actors like Jamie Foxx, Kevin Hart, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and many more. In each episode, his main aim is to extract tactics, tools, and routines that these performers use. This includes their favorite books, morning routines, productivity tactics, and much more. If you're into this, he actually wrote 2 books where he summarizes all of these interviews, and they are Tribe of Mentors and Tools of Titans. Tim Ferriss's fame actually started with his bestseller 4-Hour Workweek, followed by 4-Hour Body and 4-Hour Chef. Check it out, highly recommended. The next one is On Purpose. This has been ranked number 1 health podcast, which is hosted by Jay Shetty, whose main goal is to make wisdom go viral. He is a former monk who spent 4 summers in India under Hare Krishna Society and spent 3 years living a Vedic monk lifestyle in Mumbai, India. After that, Jay started working as a social media coach and ended up holding a record for making the world's most watched video on Facebook. This is an interview-based podcast where he talks with his guests about relationships, wellness, mental health, and life purpose. Even though most of his episodes are with different guests, I am more excited about his standalone show where he talks about different topics that help you live a more meaningful life. That's my favorite part of the show. The next one is Impact Theory by Tom Bilyeu. He was the CEO and co-founder of Quest Nutrition, which was the second fastest growing company in 2014 in USA. But after enormous success financially, he realized that that's not the game he wants to play. He wants to help people in other ways. He's a firm believer of neuroplasticity, which means that the brain has the capacity and the ability to change and adapt as a result of experience. That's why he actually starts each episode with the phrase, "Human potential is nearly limitless." His guests actually include a lot of kick-ass people like David Goggins, Gary Vee, Rachel Hollis, Mel Robbins, Brendan Burchard, and many more who provide incredible insight from their life experiences and profession. I get a lot of or most of my book recommendations from this podcast. If you want to know my top 10 books I read in 2021, I'll just leave it somewhere here. This is hands down the best interview type podcast out there. And it's not because of the guests that he brings. It's because of Tom's ability to listen and not interrupt. He always asks the right question that even makes the guest think for a minute before they respond. And if he deviates from the conversation, he remembers to bring it back to the original topic. It sounds simple, but not everybody can do that. One last thing, the podcast is on video format on YouTube, so if you want to watch the show, you can do that. The next one is Mind Pump. This is a health and fitness podcast hosted by Sal DiStefano, Justin Andrews, and Adam Schafer. They talk about all the myths in the fitness industry and provide science-backed solutions that result in increased muscle development and performance. They talk about a whole variety of topics like, is P90X and Insanity by Beachbody good workouts for you? What's the differences and pros and cons between high-intensity training and anabolic weightlifting? Is CrossFit good for you? How do you intermittent fast? How do you better your slow metabolism? These hosts have a combined 40 years of experience that they share on the podcast. But the best part about Mind Pump, I find, is the Q&A segment of the show, which is time-stamped in the notes, so you don't have to scroll back and forth all the time. I literally just listen to this part of the episodes. Trust me, these are great guys who know what they are talking about. If you want to listen to just one health and fitness podcast, I would highly recommend this one. They have over 1700 episodes. And the last one and my favorite is Roz and Mocha. This is hands down the most listened to podcast on my phone. They have been a radio show on Kiss 92.5 Toronto since summer 2009, and they cover entertainment and pop culture news. They have been one of the best, if not the best, radio show in the country. They started getting messages and emails from their fans to start a podcast because they hated the music segment of the radio and just wanted to listen to Roz and Mocha talk. They finally listened to their audience and started this podcast in 2018. In addition to the main hosts, Roz and Mocha, they have 3 other key members that are frequently on the show, and they are Maury Sherman, Deepa Prasad, and Shem. If you only take one podcast from this episode, I would recommend this one. They will make sure that you get your daily dose of laughter with their chemistry, games, and never seen anywhere else segments. You can listen to all these shows on any app that you use, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. I listen to Pocket Cast because I love the UI. These are my favorite podcasts that I listen to the most. If there are other shows out there that you would like to recommend and are worth listening to, definitely let me know in the comments below. Until next time, cheers.